fresh off of your tenure at NASA, the fact that you are jumping into now the investment landscape, I'm curious. Commercial space, everything you did as NASA administrator to continue to, I think, spur that type of investment and innovation. How is that now going to shape how you approach investments with Acorn?
Well, thank you, Morgan. And as always, it's great to be with you as well. Obviously, I have a big desire to continue the mission that I was on as the NASA administrator. Joining Acorn gives me that really amazing opportunity. When I was at NASA, I saw firsthand that there's a lot of publicly traded companies, big companies, that are focused on the cost-plus contracting. And in many cases, that's not the future. There is a lot of disruption that the private sector is pushing forward right now in aerospace and defense. And that disruption is a lot of times is coming from the really small private companies, venture capital kind of organizations. But there's going to be a lot of failure there. I mean, there's a lot of risk in that sector. And so there's this sweet spot that is private equity, where it's patient capital. You're looking at a 5 or an 8-year horizon. And you're able to deploy resources without necessarily worrying 100% about what the next quarter looks like. You can worry about what the next 3 or 4 years looks like. And that's the patient capital that I think is important for our country. And when you think about the disruption that's happening, not just in the space sector, as you mentioned, but in aerospace in general, I think there's a lot of opportunity in that patient capital, private equity kind of sector.
Yeah. Rick, how are you thinking about it? I mean, on the one hand, and we just had some defense prime earnings throughout this week. On the one hand, you have some of those more established contractors on the aerospace and defense side that have just seen their stocks down double digits, kind of just flatlining in anticipation that we've seen the best in terms of a defense budget has already come and gone. On the other hand, you do have this investor excitement out there for some of these commercial space names, also seeing it on the government tech side as well. How would you assess the investing landscape in this sector right now, and how are you thinking about valuations?
I actually think it's pretty predictable. I mean, a new administration means you're going to cut personnel, you're going to cut procurement, you're going to focus on innovation, you're going to turn to smaller companies to lead the way, which is the kind of things that we invest in. Long term, we feel that aerospace and defense, are going to be continually, are going to run, just fine. Commercial aerospace, for example, right now, obviously impacted heavily by airline activity. Good to see today some of the airlines ticking back up as hope is on the way with these vaccines that people will be traveling again. On the defense side, it's all about procurements of major weapon systems versus keeping older stuff working and modernizing those. But on the space side, for the first time, space is really an investable marketplace from a private equity standpoint. For years, it was left to the billionaires and the venture capital firms to lead the way. But you've got enough robust activity now for groups like ours to start to get involved in play.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.